build their purpose-driven legacy businesses through proven branding, marketing, and sales strategies so that they don't have to sacrifice their income and happiness for their mission. Thanks for watching the Life School Masterclass show. Join our Facebook group community of badass mission-driven entrepreneurs, and come back next week same place and time for our upcoming show.
All right, welcome to another show, Purpose Driven Entrepreneurs. I hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. I'm back with another amazing guest and conversation today, and we're going to talk about how to live the life that you desire. I know this is a very important topic, and there's going to be a lot of interest on your end as well. And before I start the conversation with one of my beautiful connections, I should say, from my LinkedIn community, Jason Jurado. I would like to thank him for being on our show. And Jason, where are you connecting from? Where are you based today?
I'm in Winters, California, a little bit outside of Sacramento, California.
Oh, beautiful. So from California to New York.
Yes.
It's a really great conversation, and so grateful that we get to connect with people all over the world this way and globally share our knowledge, wisdom, expertise, and most importantly, our mission with other people. So I'm so glad that you are here, Jason. Jason, let's start with an introduction. Tell us a little bit more regarding your personal journey. I guess some of the most meaningful moments in your life that led you to the work that you're doing now, and what you're going to share with us today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate you having me on here and talking to your folks and your community, as we just were talking about. So my journey, it actually begins early on in life. It's to start at the beginning is to start at the beginning for me. I've been a healer my whole life. Healing is something that's part of me and who I am, and it's always been there, and it's something that I've always been aware of. However, it wasn't talked about or mentored as a child. So it just was, I would, see things, feel things. I was very empathetic to people. I was the friend that people would come to for help. But it wasn't really talked about in my family. So it just became kind of who I was and not what I was going to do as a career, basically. My two biggest role models for my life, but also really for business role models, were my father and my maternal grandfather. Very different. My father always worked for other people. He worked at other jobs, and he enjoyed the work that he did, but he worked for other people, and then he really enjoyed his time out of work, and really separated the two. Later on in life, he did end up getting into his passion, which is horses. He grew up with ranches and worked with thoroughbreds. So he did connect with his passion, which is something I'm going to talk about today. It's very important. And then my maternal grandfather always owned his own business. He owned his own garage, and he sold Oldsmobiles for 47 years, I believe. And he was a business owner. And so I saw, what it takes to run a business as well. I saw, the extra hours and the things of that nature, but also the freedom that was allowed as well. So two, which you would kind of think were conflicting views, but they actually kind of lined up with helping me become who became later on in life.
Yeah.
Kind of living my life, doing my thing, trying to figure out, like all of us, what's important to us, and where my passions lie, and what that looks like. And typical child, I wanted to be a lawyer, and then I wanted to do other things, and I've always been a writer, and that's always been a passion of mine. Just kind of going through life. Joined the Marine Corps when I graduated from high school at 17. I ended up joining the Marine Corps, something that I knew I was going to do. One of the big things that I took from there is I got to travel the world. And that was very, expanding my mind and seeing different things of that nature. That was pretty amazing. And I had the experiences I had. I always tell people I did what I did, and I saw what I saw. One of the biggest things I took from there that I think, and I just was listening to someone else in the Marine Corps talk about this last night, is I really learned that the only limits we have are the limits we place on ourselves. When you can really just, you think, oh, I could only run a mile. Oh, I can only run 5 miles. Oh, I can only run 10 miles. And there you are running 15 and 20 miles. Or, hiking, doing a 20-mile hike through the mountains with an 80-pound pack on your back. you would think, oh, I couldn't do that, but you do it, and you have someone that teaches you how to do it and helps you along the path. And so that was a great learning for me as well. Just breaking barrier after barrier and really just learn my can-do attitude.
I love to ask this question because I also personally feel that our personal journey shapes our character, our values, the way we look at the world, the modeling around us, and it's all very intentional with sort of where we end up or where we are in this phase and stage of our human experience as well, and the way that we want to serve other people with our work and all the lessons that come along our journey, maybe from like you mentioned, your dad and all of that. So it really does make a difference in the way that we see the world. And sometimes, a lot of these things serve us, and many times some of these things do hold us back. So I'm sure that's going to be in line with our topic today. So
Sure.
where do we start, Jason? Tell us, to live a life that we desire. What are some of the things that sort of hold us back, or kind of what you have seen from your work with people?
Like part of my journey was really I had to change my mindset and my values, because I had this calling to do what I was going to do, and I got the training and I took trainings, and I still didn't make it a career. I still just, well, I found a way to use it in my life some way, but it wasn't really launching to live the life that I desired. It was really, to make a career out of helping people full time. And so the things that, it comes down to, the nuts and bolts of it is you had just mentioned it, and I was talking about, we have these, what we call filters, the lessons we learned, our values, our strategies, the things that we bring from our past. Limiting decisions, negative emotions from the past hold us back. So the first thing that we really have to do is to get rid of those, clear those out, really find out what was the lesson that we needed to learn from these things in our past to make us stronger, better, to get us on our path to living our life that we most desire. So the work I do with clients is just that. We start off with getting rid of negative emotions from the past that aren't serving them anymore. Any limiting decisions, what some people call limiting beliefs. Watching my grandfather run a business, he worked really hard, and a little Jason could take the lesson. Oh man, if I have my own business, I'm gonna have to not be with my family as much as I want to. So you got to clear that out, right? Because that's not serving me today. That doesn't serve me in helping people along their journeys as well. So getting rid of that, a lot of times we have those around money. A lot of limiting beliefs show up around money, or what we call a scarcity mindset shows up. So we really want to work on having a mindset of abundance, to seeing that we can do whatever we want. My mentor, through my background is in neurolinguistics, hypnosis, and timeline therapy. And my mentor, through all that, he would always say, however much money you made last year is how much you believe you are worth. So if you made $60,000, that's your belief system. If you made $150,000, that's what you believe you're worth. And so really, first of all, getting rid of anything negative around money, and then setting positive intentions is very important when we do this work.
Mm.
Um,
That's a big one on money. That's a big one on money. And it really holds so many people back from the impact that they can make in the world and the income that they can make so that they can live the life they desire or achieve the financial freedom to do all these things that they want to do, especially for us entrepreneurs, for sure.
Yeah, it's so important to where, and you might not think it consciously, but it's unconscious. It's in that back. That's the one thing that I talk about with clients is, you might not know where you are. So that's the first thing that we do is let's get very clear. Let's get clarity on where you're currently at. And once you could really see, oh, I do have this holding me back, or I do have this thought or this belief, we can work on that. The other thing is values. So values are, what's important to us about a certain thing. What's important to us. So we're talking about entrepreneurs. So what's important to us about career? And a lot of times you can work with somebody if say, and I hate to just go back to money, but that is something that shows up, abundance. And abundance and scarcity can be more than just financial too. There's a lot of other things that'll show up, abundance of community, having the people show up in your lives at the right time with the right information. So having that mindset, when you look at your values, and that's things that I do with clients, is we look at values and then look at the hierarchy of values. Like, so what's the most important thing to you? And then what's next and what's next? We tend to really respond to and interact with the first like 5 or 6 values in an area of our life. So it's very important to be very clear on what your values are and be clear on if they are helping you along your path or hindering you. If you want to make more money and we elicit your values around career and financial or money or compensation, whatever you want to call it, isn't higher up, that's because that's going to show up in how you react to the world. So that's
Jason,
very
I have a
important.
question about values because it
Yep.
keeps coming up, and I love that you touched on that as well. And it really aligns with my work in helping entrepreneurs grow a legacy business. A lot of times, we have to align our personal life values with the values that we operate with in our business. And a lot of times, if you are a service provider, you are the business. So that's one thing. But give me an example of values for people. I find that sometimes giving people some clarity or like examples around what are some of the values that they could be looking at, or it gives them maybe the articulation that they might need at that moment. So based on your experience, give me an example of values that maybe you help your clients discover that could make such a big difference and shifts in their lives.
Definitely. Yeah. So things that, like I said, what's important to you about your career? So for me, it's assisting others. So being helpful to others is a high value for me. Humor is
Mhm.
actually a high value for me because when you're laughing, you're learning and you're allowing things to happen. So humor is really high values for me. Someone might have, now where it gets interesting is if you're coming from working for a company and your values are high on like teamwork, and now you're an entrepreneur and you're by yourself, teamwork's not going to so much serve you. So that's something to be aware of, is so how is that going to show up as an entrepreneur where teamwork, and maybe that's um, community, maybe that's building a community. So that would be how you would have to shift those values to serve you better as an entrepreneur than from working for someone else.
Now let's stop there because I think that's a big one, because I talk about adapting a lot in entrepreneurship, and I've had to do a lot of adaptation from my corporate career to entrepreneurship. And I did find that specific one that you talked about where I was so used to building teams. My latest position was an executive leader, so I was used to always getting a team and getting together and helping one another and all of that. And then when I came out to entrepreneurship, I'm like, it's only me, myself, and I. Like I
right.
have to do this all on my own. So I did have such a value a conflict, so to speak, because that's what
Mhm.
I learned was important to me through the experience of going through that. But then it's like, how could I adapt that to entrepreneurship? But I love that you said that there's things that you can do in this journey as well, that you can adapt and you can create things around you, around to mirror that really important value. If you still say that that is an important value, sometimes the things that I thought was important values to me were probably inherited from other people, were not really that
Exactly.
important to me. So I think that's this process that you do with people is really amazing because it really helps you clarify. And do you also find, Jason, that at certain phases and stages of life, as you grow as a human being, your values evolve?
Oh, yes, 100%. There's a lot of people that will say, oh, well, your values don't change. Um, in neurolinguistics that I do, it's all about changing. It's all about shifting to live the life you desire, right? It's to get the results that you want. The kind of snapshot of NLP is using the language of the mind to get the results that you want. And so we can do that. So we definitely shift. And what will happen is that naturally, yes, our values change over time. Our life shift, our things shift, our beliefs change. Thoughts become beliefs, beliefs become values. And so as you go through life, hopefully we're all looking at life. So two things I always talk about: be curious and have flexible mindset. That's outside of what I was going to talk about, but that's just a huge key, is be curious and have a flexible mindset. That's how we learn, that's how we grow. As we're learning and growing, yes, our values do shift. What's important to you today might be not important to you tomorrow, or vice versa. So that's a great point to bring up, is that they're naturally going to shift. So that's why when I talk to a client about values, I elicit them saying, how are your values now? Not what you want them to be, but how are they now? So we could really find out where they're at. Then once we do that, then we look at, okay, what do you want them to be? What's going to serve you best on this journey? And then we can make the changes from there.
Yeah. So then is it safe to say that every phase and stage of growth that we go through as human beings, we need to take an inventory of the values that maybe helped us or served us at that phase and stage of our journey, and then do an inventory again where we are and what are some of the new things that we need to adapt to get to the next level or the next phase? I find it's
Exactly.
like an ever evolving process as we evolve as human beings. It's
Oh,
amazing.
completely. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's something that's that part of that being curious and flexible, is always looking for what's next and being open. So I do coaching for a different people in different lives, and when you look at couples, value shift within couples and relationships, that's one of the first things you look at when you're dealing with couples, is that if people's values change but the other person's don't, that can cause conflict too. Same way within like you just said about your business. Within your business is, you're in a relationship with your business. And if the values of your business are one way, but your values are another, there's going to be values conflict there as well. So that's really something to be aware of as you go forward and as things grow. I've worked for two companies in my past where their values have shifted, and the owners said, that's not what I want to be part of anymore. And they ended up selling the company because the values of the company didn't align with their values anymore. And so they stepped back, sold the company, and moved on. All relationships are like that. So that awareness is really key.
Wow. That's what happened to me. I no longer aligned with my corporate company's values. I said, I'm going to go create a company that matches my values. And what I've learned is going to make me happy, fulfilled, and align with that next phase of life that I was trying to create. Just really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, Jason, share with us some of the tools, I guess, that you can to I mean, we talked about, clarifying. The first step is awareness, just like anything. That's always the beginning of any journey.
Right.
But how do you take people through your process to help them create or design their life on intention, on purpose, and act accordingly to that?
Right. So like I was saying, that the first thing is we clear those old filters in the past that might be holding them back, get rid of those limiting beliefs, clean up our past. They always say that if you don't believe that, if you want to have your past drive your future, try driving home tonight, just looking in your rearview mirror, right? As an example. So we have to look forward, look out that windshield, look forward. So we get them in that mindset, first of all. Then when we come to, entrepreneurs and business people, look at values, what's important to them. We have that clarity already. So then we set goals, and I work with them to set very specific goals, not, and we all know SMART goals is one of the more common ones. And there's a lot of different tools for setting goals, but I work with them to set very specific goals by date, by what they want to achieve. You don't let someone say they want to make more money, because guess what? If I have $1,000 and I have $1,001, I have more money. So what specifically do you want? I now make $300,000 a year, whatever that is. So setting those goals, then within that, we set a vision. So what does success look like to you? Actually, your mental picture of being successful in your business. If you and I were going on a trip and traveling differently times, when you fly to go on vacation to wherever you like to fly to, how do you know you're on vacation? It's going to show up differently for you. For me, I know I'm on vacation when I get through security and I'm at my gate with my ticket in hand waiting for my plane. That's when I know I'm on vacation. So if my goal was to go on vacation, that would be the picture that I would have for success. Some people, it might be sitting on the beach. Some people, it might be when I book my ticket. So I help each client find for them that clarity of vision, and then we build that vision and we set that in their future and really allow them to have it. Our system, the reticulating activating system, is something that what we focus on is what we get. So when we set that goal in our future, we work towards that goal in our future. So clean up the past, set a stability, set a base, and then build that future goal and that future vision, and then help them work to get there. As they work on their goals, obstacles are a good thing. Obstacles tell you that you're going somewhere. If I was to walk through a room and I bumped into furniture and I just said, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just walking around the room," you would just keep going. But if I'm trying to go to the front door of my office and I run into a chair, okay, oh, well, I'm going to that door. That is my goal. So now I have this obstacle and I have to walk around that chair. As an easy example, right? So when things come up in your life that's like, "Oh, wait a minute," that allows you to then look at it differently and find your path to where you're really going and what's the true path. And I help them with that.
I love that you mentioned the setbacks because, that's where the real work is, right? In the setbacks. How do we manage
Right.
that? Like, what else shows up that's going to get in our way so that we don't stop to get to our final destination, which is the door? I love that example. It's so practical and we can all visualize it. And also the vacation example, right? Because aligning success, with the things that make sense to us is a completely different framework, completely different thing based on the way we see the world. So for me, starting a vacation is kind of when I just thought about it intentionally. I'm going on vacation. I'm already in there. But for you is kind of when you get past traffic, right? So it's our definitions are so different. So really doing this work that's completely personalized sounds like it's something that's going to serve you really, really well, and in the attainment of the creation of the life that you really deserve. So thank you so much, Jason, for everything you shared with us so far. Definitely helpful information. So I really hope the way we kind of connected it for the audience definitely serves the audience as well. Jason, where is it? I usually ask, we're reached the end of our interview for today, but I usually ask my guests, what is the one final message from your school of life or what you have learned that you'd like to share with our audience? And also, where is it that people can connect with you further?
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. So it's three things: have a vision, set goals, and take action. Nothing happens until something moves. So that's the most important thing. Have a vision, set these goals, and take action. People can find me on my website. My company name is One Path Coaching, spelled out on words. It's on screen right now. So onepathcoaching.com. They can reach me there. My email address is onepathcoaching@gmail.com. I respond. I'd love to hear from people. I talk to people. And on my website has all my other connections on social media. We connected through LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I love building community there as well.
Absolutely. Definitely go follow Jason and more of the work that he's doing in the world. If you definitely connected with his message in our on our show today. So I want to thank you, Jason, again for everything you shared. And we'll definitely stay in touch and stay connected. And there you have it, Purpose Driven Entrepreneurs. You'll find this show as a podcast and also on our YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe and leave us a review so that we can bring you more amazing guests just like Jason. Share the knowledge, share the education, share the inspiration with the main purpose of starting the journey with the awareness, giving you an aha moment. Take away one thing I always say from each piece of content you consume nowadays and then start applying it. I think that's really the way that you could serve yourself and utilize the information you are receiving, because it's so easy to just get a lot of information, but not really start to apply it. So thank you so much again, and I'll see you in another show and another interview. Bye for now.
Yeah, bye.
Join our next high-level community event where you will meet over 30,000 purpose-driven entrepreneurs, and you can build meaningful relationships with high-level visionary leaders that will really stem from beautiful conversations, connections for future brand building, collaborations, and also client attraction. Find out more about the next networking event that we are organizing and join us for free to see if this is a community that aligns with you, your work, and your values.